Hi there, welcome to Live with the Paper Pixie. I'm Julie DiMatteo, the Paper Pixie, coming to you live from Alpharetta, Georgia. Tonight is Wednesday, August 30th, 2023, and I believe this is episode 296, inching closer to 300. If you're watching us live, say hello and where you're watching from, and hello to my replay warriors. I've got two projects for you tonight featuring I think it's Merry and Bright. I've got a fun fold card for you. Yes, the Merry and Bright bundle. It is a diamond gatefold, which I love these, and I can't do that backwards. And then this really cute diamond box that is inspired by a swap I received from Martina Auer from Austria while I was at Backstage. So I've pixified it a little bit from her version, but I will show you hers when I share that. Brian, are you ready for your cameo? Hold on, here we go. Brian is watching for your questions and comments tonight. If you do have a question, please be sure to put a Q in front of that question. That will make sure your question gets into my queue when we do the Q&A session at the end of tonight's live stream. We will save all of your questions till the end so I can focus on demonstrating tonight's projects, but I'll stay on until I answer all of your questions. Please do save that queue for questions only, please. All right, so let's see. When you shop with me, you earn Pixie Perks on orders of $25 or more. All you need to do is to use my magic shopping link that will auto-magically add my current host code to your order. Now, if your order is $150 or more, you don't want to add the host code. You'll still earn Pixie Perks, but you're also going to earn Stampin' Rewards from Stampin' Up! To use on orders of that size. So, let's see. One more quick thing. My product shares are open. I don't have the flyer, do I? Hold on. These are only open for sign up until September 4th, so by the time we are back again live with you, product shares will have already been closed and I will have already placed my one-time order for product shares for the mini catalog. So the deadline is next September 4th is Monday, I believe. Yes, Labor Day, actually, if you're here in the US. September 4th is the deadline, thepaperpixie.com/shares. And I've got 3 different options for you. Paper share, which includes 134 sheets of 6x6. It's all 15 papers that are included in the mini catalog. You get a sampling of all of them. The ribbon share, it's 8 ribbons, but technically 7 SKUs. One of those is a combo pack of ribbon. You get approximately 16¼ yards of ribbon, or you can do both, which also comes with a free gift of your choice, or a surprise gift if I offer that option as well. So again, deadline to sign up is September 4th. The deadline for payment is September 5th. No exceptions. If I haven't received payment before I place the order in the wee hours of the morning, September 6th, I will have to cancel your invoice. So product shares, again, deadline is Monday. A couple other things. I'm going to show you these really quickly, and then I'm going to show you a little bit of show and tell from Backstage. I don't have the kids show and tell this week. I'm saving theirs for next week. But this is what we're going to be making tonight, featuring the Merry and Bright bundle and the whole suite of products. I can't show you the inside of the catalog yet, but this is one of my favorite bundles in the catalog. Here is that diamond box, and I'll show you more when we get to that point. So that's a quick sneak peek of what we're doing tonight. So I just returned from Backstage in Las Vegas. It was the Stampin' Up! Leadership event, and I thought I'd give you a little peek into some of the awesome swag that Stampin' Up! Gave us. I'm going to start with what we got at the Sweets and Swaps, which was the opening party. It was at Poolside, and they had, it's hard to describe, I did grab a video of it, but we had a ticket, and we'd walk up to what reminded me of like an IKEA Kallax bookshelf. And it had these white gloved hands that were reaching out to grab your ticket, and then the hand would disappear and out would come the gloved hand to give us these really cute Stampin' Up! Sunglasses. I have a feeling Lily is going to commandeer these, but this year is their 35th anniversary. And I love the case. It's so cute with all the different colored hearts. That was fun swag. We also received this great, I think it's a canvas, shoulder bag here, and it's got these really cool arrows and the Stampin' Up! Emblem at the bottom, and it was tied at the top with this really cool scarf, which I'm definitely going to use that. I think it's beautiful. I love the colors in this. Hard to kind of give you the full effect, but it does say Stampin' Up! 35 years. So there's that. Everything's all like theme based. I love the way that they do it. So that was my name tag, and then it was blinged out. So I love the lanyard here. There was also a playing card that was attached as well, and we were to find others at Backstage. There were 700 of us, but we were to group up with 4 other demonstrators. I'm trying to think, it was to make a royal flush or a full house, basically kind of like that poker, right? A poker hand, and then we could get some free stickers, which I'll show you those. We got this very cool sort of desk set. It's got push pins and a notepad, magnets. We always get pins. I've got pin boards of all the events that I've attended. These really cool paper clips and pens that came together in this really cool gift box. And then we got a 3-ring binder with all of the agenda and tons of pages for notes for us. And I'm trying to see if I've got, whoops, as I bonk trying to find my stickers here. Well, there's one of them. There we go. And these were the stickers we got when we found, when we had a poker hand. So very, very cool branded stickers there. So I love the theme and the colors, lots of super fun stuff. So the other really cool thing, I should have worn my t-shirt, but we all got t-shirts that had the word love on it. They treated us to an evening at the Mirage for the Cirque du Soleil Beatles Love Show, and it was incredible. So love that. All right, why don't we jump into tonight's projects? That's why we're all here. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the diamond gatefold. Now I've seen quite a few demonstrators that have done this. What piqued my interest, which caught my eye, was Libby Fenn's, her version of it. And I love the illusion that cutting this, let me describe this. So this top part is cut, and then what was cut from there is glued at the bottom there, which gives this illusion of this diamond. And I absolutely love that. It's so easy to make. So we're gonna go ahead and do that one first. You want to pick a pattern paper where you love both sides of it, and I am literally on my absolute last piece of the, I think it's called Merry and Bright. It's the one right behind that one.
Merry, Bold, and Bright.
Merry, Bold, and Bright designer series paper. Actually, this was the swap that I took with me. I signed up for a fun fold swap. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of designer series paper. You'll have to forgive the mess. It was curriculum night at the kids' elementary school, and so I was like running around like a madwoman today. Oh gosh. I do everything at the last minute, in case you don't know me. All right, so we are starting with a piece of designer series paper that measures 5 1/4 by 12, and you're gonna wanna cut it if it's a directional pattern in landscape. Ultimately, you wanna decide which pattern you want. Excuse me, I did a lot of talking this weekend, so my voice is on the edge. You want to decide which pattern you want to be on the front and inside, and then which pattern you want to kind of peek through from the front. So I think I'm going to do the trees. That's going to be part of this diamond, and then the stripes, which is the beautiful and awesome back of this paper for what we see here. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my Simply Scored. And we're gonna go ahead and score. Where is my scoring blade? Behind me. Okay, we're gonna score at 2 inches and 10 inches. Then I'm going to flip to the back side, and we're gonna score at 4 and 8. Okay, so let me repeat those again. 2 and 10, flip to the back side, 4 and 8. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and turn this to the short side, or the 5 1/4 inch side, and we're gonna go ahead and make a little tick mark at 2 inches. So I'm just taking the ball tip of my stylus, pressing down right here at 2 inches, and then I'm just gonna flip it this way and do the same thing, 2 inches. Okay, so hopefully you can see I've got a little tick mark there. We're gonna use that to cut that corner, okay? Now I'm gonna bring in the paper trimmer, And essentially, I'm gonna cut diagonally from the 2-inch tick mark diagonally up to that first score line. Now what I like to do is to line up at least the score line or the tick mark, just pick one of them, and then I put my finger on it, so then that way I can pivot. So if I zoom in a little bit here, going this way, I'm gonna move it up. So I've got my little 2-inch tick mark here. Okay, I'm gonna put my finger there because I don't want that to move. Then I can pivot this to where I've got my score line, which is also a 2-inch score line, right in the cutting groove there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut. So you have a piece that looks like that, okay? I'm gonna repeat the same thing. I know I'm zoomed in, so I'm trying to make sure I stay in the view. Again, we're gonna line up that tick mark in the cutting groove, put your finger there so you can pivot, and then line up that score line and cut. All right, let's zoom back out. All right, so now what we're gonna go ahead and do is fold and burnish on the score line. So pay attention to which side of the paper you scored on. So we scored the 2 and the 10 on the Christmas tree side. So I'm gonna take that valley score line, so that means that it's a valley on the side you scored it on, and I'm gonna turn that to a mountain fold and burnish. All my stuff is behind me right now. So same thing here. Taking the valley score line, turning that into a mountain fold. And then we're on the back side here, turning that valley score line into a mountain fold. Same thing, just folding and burnishing. So that's kind of the start of our diamond gatefold, okay? Now the next thing we're gonna do is glue these corners down here, these triangles. Now what I do like to make sure I'm doing is making sure that those stripes are going in the same direction. So for example, these are basically right triangles, and they're, that means they're a 45-degree angle, right? I need my little math thing on here. I feel like so do you see how the stripes here are going vertical? So we wanna make sure we adhere those in a way that they're in the same direction as what we see on the top part. That really helps with the optical illusion, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my silicone craft mat, just in case I get any glue where I don't want it. I'm gonna use liquid glue for this. It's always easier for me to do it this way. I don't know why. And I'm just making sure that that triangle is lined up right to the edge. Take your time doing this. That'll just help with that optical illusion. I'll do the same thing on the opposite corner. Making sure my stripes are going horizontal. They're going to look vertical, but remember I've turned my paper long ways here. Here we go. So there we go. See how that optical illusion is coming together? I love that. If you've got any raised edges from your paper trimmer, just go ahead and smooth those out with your bone folder. Then I've got a piece of Melon Mambo. Forgot I moved them all over here. Melon Mambo, this is a 1/4 sheet of cardstock, so it's 5.5 by 4 1/4, and that's what we're gonna glue this panel down to, okay? That's gonna basically create our A2 card size here. This can sometimes be a little strange to hold with the gatefold, but I just kind of curve it a little bit between my hands here. And then I'll just do, oops, getting away from me there. There we go. Liquid glue is your friend here because you can slide everything into place. And I'm gonna have about 1/8 of an inch of the Melon Mambo peeking out from behind. And I'm just taking my color inspiration directly from the Designer Series paper here. So while it's the gate fold is closed. I'm just pressing it into place for that adhesive to adhere. And then once it feels like it's in place, I'm just gonna come in and then just kind of burnish with my hands here. Just smooth all that glue around, like so. Okay, so cool. So again, whatever pattern paper you're using, just kind of pay attention to the pattern. If it is directional, make sure you cut that long 5 1/4 by 12 inch piece in landscape. And then you may want to play around depending on which pattern. When you take the triangles off, you can always flip-flop these folds if you need to, if for some reason you can't get your triangles to line up in the same orientation as what you see along the top, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and piece together our sort of embellishment for this card that really makes it look like a diamond. And I've got a piece of Melon Mambo that measures 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And I've got a piece of basic white that's 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. These two pieces I'm just gonna layer over each other. I've done the die cutting ahead of time just to save some time tonight. There we go. Now a little trick that I have, since I made, I don't know, 2 dozen of these, give or take, I wanted to make sure that I only put adhesive on half of the diamond. And so the way I did that, it's kind of weird, but when you make a whole bunch of them, you kind of figure out tips and tricks. See how I'm lining that up underneath, point to point? I was just using a flat edge. You could use grid paper, you could use any type of flat edge, maybe even a Post-it note, but I just want to do that to make sure I don't put adhesive where I don't want it to go. So I'm basically wanting to stay away from the edge there. I don't know, this was just kind of a trick that I figured out when I was making so many of them. Because that way, we're gonna adhere this, where the adhesive is gonna be on the left side, and then I'm lining up point to point in that, basically where the gate fold opens. Now liquid glue again is your friend here. We just wanna kind of slide it into place. You want it to be equidistant top to bottom. So this whole part of the trees peeking out, you want those all to be about the same width. Like so. And then that way, you make sure that you don't have any adhesive sticking out through there, and it's just sticking to the one side so that the recipient can open it completely. I could sit here and do this open, close, open, close. So much fun. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and build our little light bulb scene here. And again, I've die cut these ahead of time, but let me share a couple of things with you. And actually, let me take a quick moment to show you the bundle we're using tonight. It is the Merry and Bright bundle. I love this one, it's photopolymer. And the dies that come with it are amazing for creating multiples. Now I've got quite a few of these dies. These are the Merry and Bright dies. But I've got quite a few of these dies that are out and about right now because I was using them. But you get 2 of each light bulb. Again, I've got one of these light bulbs out for the 3D project. Kind of 2 of each of the, I don't know, the metal part of the light bulb. So it's really great for making multiples. And you've got 2 different filaments to use. I love the heart-shaped one. I just think it's so sweet. So I've cut several things from products in the suite. We've got 2 light bulbs that are cut Lemon Lime Twist and Flirty Flamingo. Again, taking color inspiration from the suite itself. And then I've got Poppy Parade and Shaded Spruce for the filaments. And then the suite also comes with the Melon Mambo and Granny Apple Green foil sheet. So I cut the bases like so. Now, the filaments I have backed with adhesive sheets. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and peel those off. If you have trouble, go ahead and use something like the Take Your Pick tool, but I can usually get that started with my fingernail here. I say that, but now I'm live and it's gonna mess with me. So that's got adhesive on the back of it, and I'm gonna kind of pair it with like colors. So I'm just gonna go ahead and place that down on the Flirty Flamingo. I love the way that looks. I also like to kind of take my bone folder and just kind of smooth that out a little bit so that the adhesive sticks. And then we'll peel the backing off of the Shaded Spruce. And stick that to the lemon lime twist. And then I just like to kind of smooth that out a little bit. And if for some reason you smooth it out too much and your light bulb starts to curl, just do the same thing from the back side. Now for this part, a couple of the cards I was using liquid glue for these, but they're actually, it's slits. So what I was finding was the adhesive was coming right through the cuts. So tear and tape actually works really well for this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little piece of tear and tape right along the bottom. It's a perfect width for the bottom of these light bulbs. And I'm kind of stuck on here because of the way I hold my tear and tape, but I do want to trim that off. And I just cleaned up my scissors the other day and I got them all gunky again. I have to use another alcohol wipe for that. Oh, and did you guys notice my Simply Scored didn't have the 3-inch Sharpie line on it? You all gave such great tips. I actually ended up just using 70% alcohol and a Q-tip and got that all cleaned up. So I've got then tear and tape there along the bottom. Just gonna grab my take your pick tool. And then again, lining up kind of like colors. This is the Melon Mambo foil. I just love how that takes it up a notch, that foil there. And then the Granny Apple Green on the Lemon Lime Twist. Such fun color names to say. Like so, okay? Now, what we're gonna go ahead and do is layer this onto the front here. This is kind of how I had designed it. I want the loops on, what do you call that? The screw part of the light bulb. I'm sure it has a name, but I want those loops to layer over each other because we're actually going to tie some trim on there. So I'm going to go ahead and do threads. I'm going to go ahead and do this one first. We are going to do a little bit of stamping too. So liquid glue, just a little bit on the back. And I'm eyeballing this, but I did make a few of them. So I just want to make sure that this part of the loop is kind of centered. Like so. This one's going to overlap ever so much. Again, just lining those up. Let's do it like that. All right, so I'm gonna do the trim last. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of stamping. The socket, yes. Is that right? Well, the socket's what's in the light fixture itself, right? All right. We're gonna stamp. So I'm bringing out Granny Apple Green and Melon Mambo. And I love the block words in this because they make it so easy to fussy cut. I just re-inked my Granny Apple Green. For the swaps, I ended up using the Stamparatus because I wanted to get a really good bold stamped image. And I'm actually going to stamp 2 of the word Mary because we're going to use the other one on the diamond box. 2 of those. And then Melon Mambo. There we go, okay. So then for these, I'm just gonna fussy cut, but I like them to be kind of separated. I don't love to fussy cut, but this is really easy to do when they're just these little blocks. And see how my scissors are super gunky right now? I was cutting Velcro dots in half. So that leaves a lot of gunk behind. I'm gonna fussy cut this one and hope that I don't lose it between now and when we do the 3D project. There we go. Melon Mambo goes up to one of my top favorite colors. All right, so I'm gonna put one of these to the side. Brian, help me remember, it's right there. All right, I'm gonna use mini glue dots. Nope, mini dimensionals. For the Mary word, I did put the dimensionals kind of towards the middle because that's going to fit in between the bulbs there. So I'm going to go ahead and start by layering the and bright first because I want to make sure, whoops, as it sticks to me, that, I can get it right down to the edge of the diamond there, like so. I'm just bringing it right down to the edge there, and then that gives me an idea of where to place Mary. I'm gonna put that right above it, centered, like so. And then those two dimensionals being in the middle are actually going to, that's gonna bug me, it's a little cattywampus. Those are gonna sit right on the basic white as opposed to the light bulbs. There we go. Okay. All right, so then the last piece is from the Simply Elegant trim. I'm going to grab the silver, which I haven't given the silver a whole lot of love. I've been using the gold for the most part. So I'm going to go ahead and loop that through. This may be a little extra, but I'm going to loop that through those loops on the base of the bulb. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that through with my reverse tweezers. And then we're going to go ahead and just tie a simple bow. Oops. Loop-de-loo here. I may need to use my tweezers here to pull that end through. Nope, here, let's try that again. There we go. Now we can kind of zhuzh the loops. This has a tendency to get a little bit loose as you play with it. So you just want to make sure one last time that you come in and tighten that knot. Like that. And then we'll cut off the tails here. And there we have, let me clean up my mess here, our diamond gatefold fun fold card. And I forgot one more thing. You're gonna want a piece of basic white. I knew I was gonna do that. This piece measures 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And we're just gonna layer that right on the inside so you can write a little note to the recipient. So liquid glue for that. Again, 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So super fun. This is a great way to show both sides of your designer series paper if you ever have a hard time like me deciding which side you're going to use. I love the projects that do both, so love that. And as you play with it, it'll break down the fibers a little bit, and that should stay closed fairly well. Okay, but so cute. I love the detail on the light bulbs in the Merry and Bright bundle. It's just super fun, and the different textures and colors coming from the designer series paper. So let me show you the other version here that's just got a different pattern, but those bright, bold colors. Again, they both have the Melon Mambo base and just so much fun to put together. So I hope you'll give this one a try if you haven't already. Again, the diamond gatefold card. So thank you to Libby Fens for the inspiration on that one. Let's go ahead and jump into our 3D project. So this is the inspiration. This is a swap that I received from Martina Auer from Austria. So stinking cute. I literally was like, oh, I have to try to make that because I haven't made a box like this before. But something, I mean, somewhat similar, but I love the geometric folds in this, how it looks like a diamond from the side or almost like a marquee. I think of the marquee cut diamonds, but anyways, so that's the swap from Martina. Martina, thank you so much for the inspiration. This is my Pixie-fied version. I've got a little, she has used 1.5-inch circles that she scored in half and glued both sides on the bottom, so the bottom is closed, and then this just opens. It's being held closed by this really pretty twine. I opted to actually close the bottom, so mine's got a little bit of extra paper, and then I've got a flap here. All right, so Martina's just uses a 4x6-inch piece of Designer Series paper, and mine uses 5.5 by 6, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in that piece. I love this Christmas tree pattern. So we've got the shaded spruce, granny apple green, and lemon lime twist. I love those greens together. And this piece, again, this is 5.5 by 6. So if you're using a directional patterned paper, you're going to want it to be in landscape. So the shorter side is along the side, the longer side is along the top, okay? I'm doing these measurements from memory at the moment, so hopefully my brain will still recall them. There will be project sheets linked in the description before the end of the day tomorrow. We can get all the measurements and a picture of tonight's template for the 3D box. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We've got this again along the 6-inch side, so in landscape, and we're gonna score at 1.5, 2 3/4, 4 1/4, and 5.5. I'm gonna turn it clockwise, and we're gonna score this at 1/2 inch and 4.5. Now, I'm gonna bring in a template because we're gonna do 2 score lines, but they're only gonna be in 2 sections of the paper. So we've just now done these vertical score lines. We've turned it this way and we did our 1/2 inch and 4.5 inch. But you'll see here that we need to do a score line only in the 2nd and 4th sections. Okay, so I'm gonna totally eyeball this. If it's difficult for you to eyeball it, you can just kind of bring up a ruler to guide you. But this is at the 2.5 inch mark. So I'll bring that template back in just a moment. I like to kind of come up to the 2.5 inch mark, and then I'm just pulling it down, and I'm scoring between that 1st and 3rd score line. I can't see this, so I'm feeling my way. And then we're gonna skip a section. So 1st and 3rd, 4th, and is that right? 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So let me get that in there. There we go. You're gonna be able to see this a little bit better on the back side. Okay, so again, we did 1/2 inch, 4.5, and then at the 2.5 inch mark, we're scoring from the 1st score line to the 2nd, then the 3rd to the 4th, okay? Then I'm gonna turn this back counterclockwise, and we're gonna score at 2 1/8 down to the 1st score line, and 4 7/8 down to the 1st score line. And then I'm gonna flip it, and we're gonna repeat those measurements. 2 1/8, stop at the 1st score line, 4 7/8, stop at the 1st score line. Now, you're gonna be able to see this much better on the back side, even though we've got these horizontal lines happening here. But see how we've got our short score line stopping here and here? Then we only have those 2.5 inch score lines in between the 2 narrow sections, ignoring the 1/2 inch, obviously that's narrower, but the 2 narrower sections, we have that 2.5 inch score line. Okay, so we're done with the Simply Scored, but hang on to the stylus or use the stylus on the Take Your Pick tool. And we are gonna do some diagonal score lines. Now, for me, and technically this is the correct side of the paper to do the diagonal score lines, because the diagonal score lines are gonna fold into the box. my metal ruler here. I'm gonna score, let me show you on the template. So we had those short score lines. We're gonna score from the intersection of that score line diagonally up to the bottom of this short score line. So we're kind of diagonally connecting the horizontal and vertical short score lines in both directions to create this diamond shape, okay? So again, what I would do is bring the ball tip of the stylus right there to that intersection, bring the ruler to it, and then score. So that's what I'm going to do here on the striped piece. And I would just do this on whichever side you're able to see the score lines the best. It's not the end of the world if you do it on the opposite side from where you're going to fold it. Of course, I can't see myself. There we go. This one's a little bit off because I didn't see the top score line there. Try that. There we go. Okay. It will be much easier for you to see in person, probably than what you're able to see on camera here. I'm going to just show you the ones that we've done so far. So see that? Connecting the intersection of that short score line up to the intersection of that short score line. So we're going to repeat that on the opposite side. I'm like leaning my head to see where I can see. There's crafting lights and then there's video lights, and they're two totally different things. So there we go. Okay, so if I turn it this way, that's gonna match with our template here. Nope, that's gonna match with our template. Oh, I'm on the back side, that's why it's throwing me off. Which you can't really see the score lines on the Christmas tree side. So the next thing I'm gonna do is fold and burnish on the score lines, but only the ones that go all the way across the paper, not the short ones. Like my little collection of tools up here on the right side. You got the top and the bottom flaps. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and do some cutting. I like to do the cutting before I kind of work on the diagonal score line. So along the bottom, where we've got this little 1/2 inch section, I'm going to flip to the back side here and grab my scissors. I'm going to cut up on either side of the section that we're leaving behind. So if we got it this way, it's the 1, 2, 3rd section over. We're going to keep this. Everything else gets removed. And again, just cut on whatever side of the paper you can see your score lines the best. So there we go, we're leaving that extra flap behind. Now along the top, we're only going to keep this big section. So I'm going to cut on the vertical score line right next to it. But we're going to remove all of this. So again, the stripe side is showing me the score lines much better. And if that's a long way for you to cut with a pair of scissors, feel free to use your paper trimmer. Like so. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is bring in a corner rounder punch. This is the retired detailed trio, but I basically want to round the corners of both flaps. I like to fold the paper so I've got this long flat edge. Like so. And then even this tiny little 1/2 inch flap just gives it a nicer finish because we are going to glue that to the outside of this diamond box. Like that. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and work the paper on those diagonal score lines. Now again, this is the outside of our diamond box, so we want to fold those diamonds inside, and I kind of get them started by putting my finger right there where that diamond is and just start to kind of pinch. You're gonna have to help it along a little bit as it goes down to this horizontal score line there. But then once you kind of get it going, you can just kind of, what do I say? Tell the paper who's boss. Just kind of work it that way. It's a little difficult to come in and burnish just because you don't want to bend these larger panels. You get a much nicer finish if you leave those intact or without any folds. So again, I'm just kind of telling the paper where to go nicely. Being assertive, but nice. Like that. And like that. And you'll be able to work them even more once we put it together. So like so, okay? Now we're gonna go ahead with the flap here. I'm on the back side. I've got the bigger flap here on the top right. I'm gonna fold on the second vertical score line from the left and take my liquid glue. Oops, and I forgot to do a little bit of miter cutting on this little 1/2 inch. Not a big deal if you forget to do it, but I love to do that so we can keep those corners out of the way. All right, so folding on that second score line from the left, and I'm putting liquid glue along that 1/2 inch section. And then I'm gonna fold on the first score line from the right. And just press all of that flat, okay? Until that sticks. So then you'll see as we pinch here, it's gonna pinch on those diagonal score lines to create that really cool marquee looking diamond fold, okay? So what we're gonna do on the bottom here is I'm actually going to glue this flap. I do like to kind of dry fit it. The flap we're gonna glue down to hold the base together, okay? So I'm just gonna use some liquid glue for that. Just making sure that that's lined up there. And get that lined up. You can use your belly as a third hand like I like to do sometimes. Or your work surface as well. Just to get a little bit of leverage so I can pinch that as the adhesive sticks into place. Okay, so that's the bottom. And a nice finish on the back with that rounded edge. And then on the top, I'm actually gonna use a Velcro dot. And I've already cut one in half, hence why my paper snips are all gunky. These are the 5/8 of an inch thin clear fasteners, which I've got linked on my favorites page. Again, that's thepaperpixie.com/favorites. You get 75 circles, but if you cut them in half, you're gonna get 150 of them. And they come in different sizes, depending on the project. They've got the 3/8 inch circle as well. I love the 5/8 of an inch. So I'm pulling the backing off of the hook side, which is the clearer side. And I'm gonna put the rounded part towards the top of our flap here, like so. Then I'm pulling the backing off of the loop side. And again, get that lined up and fold into place, like so. I do like to open that back up again, making sure that that's stuck down. And then you can put your treats in here. Now, I don't specifically have treats, but let me grab a couple things. Just grabbing some things from my stash here. All right, so Werther's, which I had that giant bag from last week. That's 3 of them, but I think you could actually fit 4. Maybe 5. Oh yeah. 5 will fit in there. Okay, so that's a cute little treat to put in there, especially if you used like some fall paper. Let's see, Ghirardelli minis. Let's see if those will go in there. These are old. Maybe they need to go at a bit of an angle here. It looks like just one because of the way that it's shaped. Because you do have it kind of tapering in on the inside. Hershey's Kisses will go in there. That's just 2 of them, but I think you could probably fit 4 or 5. Plenty of room there. Dove Promises. Those will go in there. Probably a couple more of those as well. So it's pretty good size. Hershey's Nuggets go in there, no problem. 2 is probably the limit, maybe 3. So lots of ideas. Any type of hard candy. That's what Martina put in hers, was an assortment of hard candy. So why don't we go ahead and embellish it now. I've got those pieces and parts cut as well, I think. Yes. All right, so I die cut a Stylish Shapes circle from vellum just to kind of soften the pattern a little bit on the front. That gives a little bit of contrast there. And then this is the larger of the Christmas light bulbs, but same heart-shaped filament, which I think is adorable. So lemon lime twist and shaded spruce for the filament. Again, that's adhesive, that's backed with adhesive sheets. And then we're going to come in with tear and tape. Like so. All right. So I just put tear and tape on there so that we can put our little Granny Apple Green foil sheet light bulb base, like so. And then I've got my Mary, which I remembered. We're gonna kind of make the illusion that that is a sort of hanging tag, and I'm gonna do that by just using a mini glue dot. So a mini glue dot just underneath. Actually, let's do that. Let's do the trim first. So again, I'm gonna grab the silver trim and we're gonna tie a bow. I love this addition of silver. It just adds a really pretty bling to this. Lots of textures. Let's get that zhuzhed. Like so. Trim off the tails. All right, so to give the illusion of a tag here, moving that bow just a little bit off to the left, I'm going to grab a mini glue dot, just right underneath the M of Mary. And I've got a glue dot sticking to my fingernail, one I must not have used yet, being attacked by a glue dot. And I'm just going to kind of tuck that Mary like it's kind of hanging from that trim, okay? And then I'm going to take 2 mini glue dots, just going to stick those right to sort of the center of the vellum circle, okay? Because if you recall, this is kind of curved, and that's what I was talking about, where you don't want to crease or fold these larger sections because you get that really nice curved edge. You've got the sharper score lines along the side, but then a really nice finish on the front. So those 2 glue dots are actually they're going to disappear once we cover them up with the light bulb. But I'm just going to pop that right in the center, right where that curve is, okay? And same thing with our light bulb. I love to do a pair of glue dots because that sort of anchors whatever is stuck to the glue dots. And then we're going to pop that right over the vellum circle. And the vellum just sort of breaks up the space, the background from the foreground, and just gives a really nice finish there. So there is our diamond box Inspired by Martina Auer from Austria. Thank you for the amazing swap for that. I loved it, obviously. Couldn't wait to make it a version myself. I'm cleaning up my mess here, hold on. All right, so let me show you. Here are the two versions, and then here's Martina's version that I was inspired by. And then we've got our two diamond gatefold cards. So there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's projects. Why don't we go ahead and jump into tonight's questions. I saw lots of them coming through, so I'm excited to see them. All right. If I order my stamp and embossing machine, is it going to take till Boomsday to get here? Please let me know. They are currently shipping on service or on time. So 1 to 2 days picking and shipping time. Now, Cynthia, that'll depending on when you order. So next Wednesday is when the mini catalog launches, along with, I believe it's 5 new designer series papers, which are online exclusives. And what else is dropping on September 6th? There's I think there's a new, or at least demonstrators have discounted supply items. There's a lot going on September 6th, which will likely delay the picking and shipping time, so just keep that in mind. A replay warrior is just my nickname for those who watch the live stream shows on replay. I know this time doesn't work for everybody, so yeah, replay warriors. I don't know, I just kind of picked that up along the way. It's not something that I came up with. I've just heard about it. I've heard it several times for those that watch replays. Yes, Sue, I thought it was 5 papers. There's a glimmer paper, a foil paper. I think it might be 5 total, but maybe it's 4. We only just saw it yesterday, so I haven't had much time to study it. But yes, they'll be only available exclusively online, so you won't see them in a catalog, but your demonstrator can order those for you as well. It just means they won't be in a printed catalog, and you'll be able to see those first thing September 6th. So. Beautiful papers, so I can't wait for you guys to see it. I did not. I don't gamble, so but it was fun to walk through the casino and see lots of demos having a great time. I know there were some winners for sure. Let's see. Mary Jo, great question. So demonstrators qualify for backstage when they reach the title of Silver Elite or above. So there's different criteria to reach Silver Elite and above, but it is specifically for leaders, and it's a great perk of being at that title and above. So Tina, my swap was this, the diamond gatefold for the fun fold, and then, let's see, hold on. My 3D swap was based on, we did this a couple of weeks ago, but it was that pyramid origami style. Did I call it a pyramid, a triangle box? I don't remember what I called it. Sour cream container, an origami sour cream container. So this was my 3D swap. What would be the best way to clean your rubber glue mat? So Kathleen, really you should be able to just mat. If you've got some stubborn adhesive, you could certainly use dish soap and water. I think you can use an alcohol wipe on there as well, but you should be able to just roll the adhesive off the silicone mat fairly easily for sure. When you re-ink a stamp pad, how much ink do you spread on the pad? Well, why don't I show you what I do here? I just re-inked my, which color was it? Granny Apple Green, I think. Hold on, let me come back to demo. I'm gonna do the Granny Apple Green again because I use the palette knives, which they're intended for the embossing paste, but I use those for re-inking my ink pad. But I'll just kind of show you in general what I do. So I do kind of like a plaid pattern, checkers pattern. I don't know. I go back and forth like so. And it absorbs pretty quickly into the firm foam pad. You guys can't even see how much ink, but I basically am squeezing it in even pressure, going back and forth long ways and short ways. And then what I do is I take the edge of the palette knife, or you can use the back of a plastic spoon. You can use like an expired credit card or gift card, and just press the ink into the surface of your ink pad. I'm not pushing too hard, but I'm just wanting to get that ink evenly over the ink pad. And I go both long ways and short ways, like so. And then done. So you have a little bit of ink left on your palette knife. I just run that under water because it's water-based ink. It'll clear right off the palette knife, or whatever you choose to use, whether it be a plastic spoon or something like that. Do I have to join or accept Google to get the directions? Something from them shows up when I try them the last few weeks. You should not have to do that at all, Lonnie. They are public. It's a public link. You should have no problem. Now, they are PDF documents, so you may need to update your PDF reader, or that's the only thing I can think of as why you might be having trouble with that. But I don't believe with Google.
Download a PDF reader.
Yeah, or download a PDF reader. You may need to do that, but you shouldn't have to log into Google in order to download the project sheets. Oh, that's awesome, Barbara. Thank you. Let's see. Where did I get my small metal ruler? So I have got that listed on my favorites page, and it's actually a pair that you get. It's by Mr. Pen, and you get a 12 by 12 and a 12 by 12. You get a 12-inch ruler and a 6-inch ruler. I love them both. I actually use them both. I use the 6-inch one the most often, but there are times that I definitely need to use the 12-inch for anything obviously longer than 6 inches. But they're really wonderful. They've got like tips and tricks on the back of the ruler. It's my favorite so far. So they're listed on my favorites page. Oh, Lisa, I knew that question was going to come up. You definitely could. I'm trying to think. I have a similar style box that definitely fits a gift card. It was a Halloween one. I wouldn't be able to tell you what to search for, Brian.
I think she was asking about the card.
Oh, you're asking about the card. Oh, the Fun Fold card. Sorry, I'm instantly thinking about the 3D one. You sure could. I mean, essentially what I would do for that to be a gift card holder is do some type of, I'm going to switch back to the demo, some type of slit or pocket in the base. Now I'm trying to think, what was the card that I did a couple weeks ago that I had the, do you remember what die that was from? I totally forgot. If you go back a couple weeks, I had a, no, I can't remember. If you have the tailored tag punch, it's a retired punch, you could punch that, and that's a perfect size for a gift card. It's not going to be on my blog. Oh, this is a project sheet. I cannot remember off the top of my head. It's one of the dies where I created a little slit that was the perfect width for a gift card. So go back a couple of weeks on my live streams and you should see that. That's an idea to turn basically the liner into a gift card holder. That's what I would recommend for this, because these panels here are only 2 inches wide, which aren't going to be wide enough for a gift card. Gift cards I think are 2 1/8 wide. I think it's like 2 1/8 by 3 3/8. So you're not gonna be able to put it on the panels, but yeah, I would put a little slit or something in the basic white layer and stick a gift card in there. Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood your question the first time. Great question, Denise. Do I deconstruct projects to figure them out, or can I usually just look at them and be able to make or pixify them? In most cases, I can just look at them to pixify them. I'm trying to think if I've deconstructed. I don't typically have to deconstruct because I can usually take a ruler to a box, for example, and just kind of figure things out that way. And I don't know, I've been making boxes for so long, I imagine the measurements in my mind, or at least I imagine the orientation of the score lines and then put together the measurements that way. Anyways, it's how my analytical brain works. Oh yes, Bobby, they know where my snack drawer is. They're really good about not sneaking into it because I think they'd know they get in big trouble. Not big trouble, but yes. So I do try to share my snacks. I got a really cute swap from Melissa Faust that was gummy bananas with the Monkey Builder punch and that whole bundle. And so we all tried a gummy banana today. It was very good. Would the lip balm from 2 weeks ago fit the treat box? Oh my gosh, I can't remember the lip balm, but we did. Do I still have it out here? Let's see. Oh, you're talking about it's the EOS lip balm. It was that one. That's a good question. I don't think that it will, Paula. Because I think because of the way that the box tapers, that lip balm's going to be a little bit too tall. But for some reason, I can't find where we put it. Hold on, I'm going to look really quickly. It's not there, but I do have a regular size lip balm. Let's see. Okay, so I have just one of like a typical like chapstick size lip balm. It is, it does not fit. It's, doesn't go down far enough, so the tapering prevents that. So definitely no, the EOS lip balm would not, because the EOS lip balm is a wider diameter. All right, so I'm thinking this will be perfect for the treat holders I make each year for the residents where my parents live. I usually make 115. That's incredible. To be a little more economical, how else could I close it? So you could do like what Martina did. Especially if you have like a 1.5 inch circle punch. So you could do designer series paper that's 4x6. Most of the measurements will be the same with the exception of the center score line is going to be actually at 2 inches instead of 2.5. And then you could just punch out a bunch of 1.5 inch circles or die cut. Die cut obviously will take longer, but if you have a 1.5 inch circle punch, you could do that and score those in half at 3/4. And then close it that way. That will allow you to get 6 out of one sheet of 12 by 12. Am I doing them? Yeah, 4x6. So that would be one way. Or you could just wrap it with ribbon or twine, but I do love the way Martina finished it off with the circles. I just wanted to do a little bit of a different design with a flap. Okay. So Kristen, the easiest way to find the online exclusives is in the online store. I do have a magic link, thepaperpixie.com/online only. That will take you there. Or you can just go to stampinup.com, and when you click on the menu, there will be a little bubble that says online exclusives. So that's the easiest way to get to those. Do they ever make a collection, for example, Christmas, with paper, stickers, and cutouts in one package? Sometimes they'll do like an ephemera pack, where you've got kind of all of that in the package. Our Memories and More lately has tended to be mostly cards, but sometimes it'll have stickers in it. But yeah, sometimes they'll have the ephemera packs, but I don't know of any. I don't think we have any in the upcoming mini catalog. Let's see. Could you make the diamond treat holder in cardstock? You absolutely could, Mary. This one, because it's not folding over on, multiple layers of it, absolutely you can create it out of cardstock. The miniature lip balm would work, Charlene. Probably a few of them, to be honest. It might be a little bit big of a box for the mini lip balms, but you could definitely put a couple of them in there, or maybe that with, I don't know, a mint or something. It'd be kind of a cute little box. So, all right, we are at the end of tonight's Q&A. Thank you guys so much for your amazing questions. If you enjoyed tonight's video and tonight's projects or learned a tip or two, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon to select all so you won't miss any of our next videos. We will be live again next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on September 6th, which is a big day because that is the day that the mini catalog launches, the September to December mini catalog. My best advice is to order early for the best product selection. There are going to be a lot of really popular products, so I don't want those to sell out before you get your hands on your favorite, so order early for the best selection. Let's see, bonus days coupon codes. Tomorrow is the last day to use those. My product shares are available for sign up through Monday, Labor Day, and we will be back with you again next Wednesday. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email at support@thepaperpixie.com. And remember, all you need are stamps, ink, and a little paper pixie. Have a wonderful and blessed week. We'll see you next Wednesday. Take good care. Bye.